Kristina, good evening. How are you doing? You stayed in the office just for this interview. That's very impressive.
Thank you. Yes, no, better to be here and in the environment so I can give you hopefully some quality answers.
Brilliant. Without the disruptions of dogs and partners and things going through.
You are completely right, exactly, or cooking or anything like that, and me sitting here getting hungry. So I'm all yours.
Excellent. All right. Half an hour one-on-one. That's fabulous. I'm really curious, Kristina, and that's going to be my first question to you. Real estate is considered to be an industry of older people, 40 plus in general, and you started in real estate in your mid-20s, so that was half a year ago. How was starting in real estate in your early 20s, and why real estate?
Okay, two questions. Why real estate? I'm going to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a crossroads in my career. I was in sales and management in a retail sector before I came into real estate. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted growth. And I had hit the ceiling where I was at without having to leave New Zealand. And I didn't want to leave New Zealand. And I was just feeling unappreciated, maybe, probably a good term to say. And you wouldn't believe it, Gary. Honestly, it's so funny. Facebook, I was on Facebook, and the accelerator program with Barfoot and Thompson popped up on my newsfeed just at a time when I really needed to think about a career change. I thought, clicked in, watched the video, thought, this is a bit of me. I absolutely love people. I love a challenge. I like the sounds of owning my own business and also being in charge of my own performance. Like whatever you put in, you will get out and you will get remunerated in that capacity as well. So I think I applied for it, went through a billion interview processes that we had to go through at that point in time. And every interview process, I got more and more excited about this, like light bulb, like this is it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got thrown into real estate, and it was a great decision.
Yeah.
And how did people react to me being so young? Is the thing? Yeah, I was in my mid-20s, and I don't know. No one's ever going to tell you they don't give you the business because of your age, right? Yeah. They just actually can't. It would be a social no-no. Yeah. However, I would say it has definitely been a challenge when you first start in real estate from the get-go. I mean, I was the baby in our office, and especially I work in the Mairangi Bay office for Barfoot and Thompson, and predominantly just the area in general is a bit older and demographic with people who are buying and selling and transacting real estate. So I really had to get a lot of knowledge from people in the office and upskill myself very quickly to be able to compete on that level with them. And I would say that, yes, I didn't let my age, focus on something you can control, and my age was something I could not control whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So I believed I had skills and I had opportunity with my age that people in real estate, older people who have been in real estate for a longer period of time than me, will have, but maybe they just don't use them anymore, or they're getting a bit more drained. And so I came in with just a completely different vision and focus, and I just used my skill set to kind of shoot me off in an upward trajectory. Yeah.
So do you think your age made it a little bit harder for you, or did it make it easier? Were there advantages and disadvantages for being so young?
Both advantages and disadvantages. Absolutely. I did get the question, how long have you been in real estate for? And I remember you had to just do a lot of research as a comeback to that question, right? Yeah. Because yes, of course, like I'm 3 weeks in real estate is not probably going to give you a listing right then and there when you're competing against somebody who's 10 years in real estate. But it's having, I took the Tom Panos line, which I was absolutely obsessed with, and I used it multiple times, which was I'm here to build a reputation, not rely on one. And I really owned that line when I was talking to people if they ever questioned it. Advantages though, oh, absolutely. Like the energy you have and the willingness to learn and not sit on your laurels. I think that is a big thing about being younger in real estate. Like you have something to prove.
Yeah. Really nice. When with your not with in your first year in real estate, you really did quite well. I know that you worked really hard. What are some of the things that you did that you think have helped you become successful in your first year and achieve that level of success in your first year? And obviously from there, it kept on growing.
It was definitely having a support system around you was probably one of the biggest things. I did get the accelerator program with Barfoot and Thompson, so I had people at head office that were able to coach and mentor me, and also the training that is available in the real estate industry is absolutely incredible. So you have all these resources online at the tip of your fingertips, basically, that you can learn to make yourself better. And I really immersed myself in that from the beginning. I had something to prove. I, to be honest, didn't have a plan B, Gary. I just knew I had to support myself and get myself the lifestyle I knew I deserved and I wanted. And that was from the beginning. I mean, in the first 3 weeks, my first ever listing was a walk-in into the office, and I sat down and chatted with the gentleman, and he was so lovely, and it was in Marangi Bay, the house, and he goes to me when I was talking about, let's get you started. He was like, yeah, come round to my house. He said, the only thing I don't want is a new real estate agent. I'm sitting there 3 weeks in. I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? I can't lie about this. So I was like, no worries, and I brought somebody on to obviously make that go away, somebody more experienced. But it definitely, when I got that first listing, I leveraged that like there was no tomorrow. Every open home I just felt like I met the people and tried to build relationships with every single person walking in. Not every person could buy that house. I mean, let's be honest, only one person could buy that house. But then it was about trying and finding other people that were cashed up, ready to go in the area, looking for something that I connected well with. And then from that, I met a really, really lovely couple. I showed them into a few houses. I sold them into a house a few weeks after that. And then I got the listing for their home. So it was really about leveraging when an opportunity came up. Another thing I did was, being this age, a lot of your friends are looking to buy their first homes. Well, I mean, I know we have to think long term, and absolutely you do need to prospect, and I did do that, but you do need to, my focus was to build up a bank of proof that I could transact in the real estate industry and fast. So I sold as many people as I knew into homes in a short period of time to bank up some I guess, proof that I could actually do this. And after that, my prospecting was regimented. It was a non-negotiable. I had to do it, but I had to find a prospecting method that really worked for me.
So what did you do? What was the method that you thought, that's going to work for me, and you worked with? What was it?
So what I did, I door knocked. Door knocking for me, I love face-to-face interaction. So I found that far easier than cold calling people on the phone. And I think one thing I really learnt was you're only going to prospect on a regular basis if it's something you enjoy doing. So when I found something I really enjoyed doing, I went and did it more. And it was door knocking. It was getting out, meeting clients face to face, thinking long term, consistently dropping a farm area. And so when I door knocked them, they knew who I was. So you kind of had a leg in from the beginning.
Yeah. So you focused on a specific area. You didn't just go in anywhere and everywhere. There was a focus area for you.
There was a focus area for me. I have swapped my focus area to a different one now, but absolutely, for my first year, 18 months, it was a specific area. And then I probably should have kind of done a bit more work maybe on the transactions and who was transacting at the time, which there we go, as a learn.
Yeah.
And then I flipped it to another area, which I'm doing exactly what I did in the old area, in the new area, and getting results from the get-go.
Fantastic. And obviously implementing those lessons that you learned in the first area.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to make sure a farm area is going to work for you. It has to do enough transactions in a year, and you have to get a percentage of those transactions.
Yeah, yeah. And now that you're, excuse me, in the industry for a little bit longer, a little bit more experienced, a little bit older, what are some things that are changing for you? Are you changing the way that you work in the business? Are you adopting new things into your business?
I would say that now, 3 years in, you get more referral business, which is really nice. So if you've done a really fantastic job, you're encouraging your clients to recommend you elsewhere, and that is starting to flourish now. Also, from when you first began and did your prospecting, and you also kind of got touch points, and you have to think, when you first prospect, it's cold. You have to nurture those people for years, basically, and some of those prospects from year one are coming into fruition now. Nice. And that feels amazing.
Yeah, so you get the calls now. Hey, we met a few years ago, you stayed in touch, we are ready now.
Absolutely, you stayed in touch, thank you so much, would love to have an update. Now when you do start selling in an area, and so say pre-COVID, a colleague and I had a few listings in an area, and we had about 3 signboards in an area at a time. So there was quite a lot of social proof that we were doing well in that area. So you gain, the more social proof you have, the more people believe that you will do a good job. You know, the area, and business stems from there.
Yeah. Oh, great. And you have excuse me, you have brought up COVID into the picture. So how has that affected you, your business, and the way that you do things? Has it slowed you down? Has it made you more hungry? What were the effects?
Made me more hungry. I lost 6 weeks. I have goals to make, Gary. No, definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. It makes you rethink how we're doing business, and it makes you think, okay, people are working from home more. I have to be able to have the facilities to work from home and the resources to be able to speak and deal with clients when it's hard to establish. And I think a lot of people have said that, a connection with people via phone, email, and even face, like this on FaceTime. It's just a little bit harder than sitting down at a table, having a cup of tea, and just talking market and what's happening. So you have to really think about how you're going to create more touch points and more contacts with your clients, and being an actual human. I think that came up a lot over those 6 weeks. It wasn't, are you going to sell? It was more, are you actually coping? Are you doing okay? What can I do to make this easier for you? Even if it was just like a phone call once a week to have a chat. And I felt that my business became a lot more personal. And in that time I shared probably a bit more of who I am as a human, rather than as a real estate agent, you know? And that benefited, I think, a lot of the business and the relationships we have now with our clients.
So you are now focusing a lot more on really nurturing relationships and getting closer to the people that you are working with. So it's not just a real estate agent coming over, it's actually a friend or somebody that they know.
It's a friend, it's a person who cares about them. It's nearly like family. And I just think in the future, when they are ready to make a move, I mean, are they going to call some person down the road, or are they going to call somebody that's actually cared about them for the last 3, 5, 6, 10 years. Yeah. They're going to call the person that they know, trust, and care about. So it's really kind of a way to build trust with people. And like, I actually want to know how they are, and I care.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really are not, you are working your business right now, but your main focus is building it into the future, Absolutely. 5, 10, 20 years from now, where that 100%. Will really, really pay for you.
Yeah, a long-term focus. That is something, again, you learn pretty early on in real estate, is that it's not instantaneous, and you really have to think the long game.
Yeah. So long game, what are your plans for the future right now?
Oh, my plans for the future, business-wise, I really want to hit an amount of transactions this year. So I want to be, my goal is basically to be top 10 on the North Shore in our company. So that is like a probably 18 month sort of goal, is to get myself to that level. Mm-hmm. I want to do 3 transactions a month, and I want to ensure that every transaction I do, those people are a client for life. So I want to have these relationships and do better for my clients and make sure they are nurtured and cared for forever. Whatever their needs are, I want to be that person for them.
Yeah, yeah. Great. And you, obviously you have the great experience of starting young in the industry, and now more experienced and quite successful. If someone's thinking about getting into the industry at a young age, at 18, 19, 20, 25, would you recommend it to them? Would you say wait until you're a little bit more mature, or would you say, hey, go in and do it and enjoy it?
Honestly, like, this has been the best career move I have ever made in my whole life. And if people are really serious about wanting to do this career, I say go for it, whatever your age is. Make sure you're well spoken. That's probably something I would say. You know, slang words aren't ideal when you're trying to connect with clients. Mm-hmm. But it's a privilege. This job is an absolute privilege. You're with people for one of the biggest moments in their life, and you will be for years to come, with like events that happen as a family or whatever they have in their life. So it's incredible. I would probably say that young people, like, we're so influenced by social media. Yeah. And I would say that the way some famous real estate agents are portraying themselves on social media is very different to how it is when you first start. Like, those amazing Lamborghini cars and, you know, the multi-million-dollar houses and like 10 sales a week. I mean, what you see on Instagram, Facebook, it's just, that's those agents who've done 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of hard slog in the back. Well, most of them, okay, in the back, you know, 7 days a week, nights, just no holidays. They've done all that to get there. So I would say you have to be prepared to put in the hard yards. Like, it is very hard. The highs are incredible, but there are some lows as well. And you have to be so resilient and pick yourself up and just know it's not an attack on you. They just don't want you right now, and move on and just keep focusing in a forward momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely recommend, but be prepared to work extremely hard, because it is a very difficult industry.
Absolutely. And do things you really like, put you well out of your comfort zone. You know, I mean, imagine going up to somebody's door, knocking on it, who you've never met before, and trying to have a conversation of some sort. It's pretty daunting. Or picking up the phone and calling somebody who you have never spoken to in your life. It is really daunting. And you have to do that day in, day out, forever, pretty much. So it's definitely hard work, but the rewards are well worthwhile when you start building up that traction. Yeah.
Great. And so you work now probably 6.5, 7 days a week. Other than COVID, which was a forced holiday, you probably haven't had a holiday for a while. how are you unwinding? How are you relaxing? What is your way to go and just take all the pressure off?
Oh God. Okay. Good question. Honestly, I just live and breathe real estate, and it's really sad, but I think it's not really sad. I love it, but it is really hard to take yourself out of this environment and actually realize I do have a life and I need to chill at some point in time and recoup. What I try and do is I take myself to like a movie where your phone has to be turned off for a specific period, for several hours, or I would go and see my family and friends when COVID wasn't happening, obviously. I would do something like that. It was definitely every few months I would try and take a forced few days break where you can. Take your breaks when you can is probably a really big lesson I learned in the first year or so, because when you all go and you've got 4 or 5 listings on at a go, you don't have a weekend. You just won't. So it's taking those moments when you can, and definitely like knowing a time in the evening which it's okay for your phone to go to silent, and you don't have to answer those 11 p.m. texts on a property that you've listed. Like, it's okay. You don't need to do that. You can have some sort of business hours, albeit you still should probably, in my opinion right now, like 9 p.m. is still a time you could reply to people.
Up to 9 p.m. and then
9 p.m. and then your phone can probably go to silent, but I know a lot of us keep on our phones, and when you're on your phone you reply, so it's up to you, but it's probably a good thing. And what I've learned in the really recently, actually, Gary, and COVID probably actually helped me put this into perspective, is that I really do need, for my mental health and to actually deliver the best results for people, to have some time for just me, and whether it be gym or walking my dogs or something like that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Kristina, I really appreciate your time, really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your experience. And I hope, and not hope, I know that you will continue to become successful. And I look forward to have another chat with you again in a few years' time.